Howdy, how's it going? Welcome back, and howdy if you're new. So, this is going to be my first Black Friday deals video, and you will get to see an inside view on how I shop for components, what goes through my head, and some of the ramblings and, things that might give you some tidbits of information here and there that might help you make a better informed decision when you're buying components for your computer, or you're building a computer, you're looking for a monitor, or any of the other accessories or add-ons, NVMe drives, all that good stuff we're going to cover today. And if there's any deals you would like to see, drop in the comments or in the Discord and let me know, and I'll find what you're looking for. But for right now, we're going to dive right on in. Be patient. It might be a little long one, but I'll try to make it as quick and as painless as possible. But I promise you'll learn a lot. So we can't forget about our channel sponsor of the day, Ugreen. I want to thank them immensely for all the stuff they've sent over and being just awesome people and having good products, and they've got some of the best deals right now. So Ugreen right here, this charger is the one I'm daily driving right now. It's got 3 USB-C, it'll do 100 watts, and it comes with 3 USB-C cables. It's 26% off, $69.99. Now, if you just need a basic 100 watt charger, no cables, no thrills, you don't need the extra ports, this at $45.49 is a steal. It's 35% off. That's a crazy deal. The next product from Ugreen I'd love to review, and if you could give them a shout out, that'd be cool. Drop below Ugreen love or buy some of these links up here. I might be able to get one of these for the channel and tell you how good it works on the ROG Ally. I think this will allow us to get that 30 watt TDP. There's even another one a little bit bigger than this that has 25,000 milliamps, which I would love to do, but hey, either one should give us a little bit more juice, so we'll check it out. And if you have any questions, I'll drop everything below, especially to the main store page for Ugreen. And yeah, let's get back to the other deals. Here's what I recommend today, right now. The best deals seem to be on the Intel CPUs. There are a lot of deals on AMD CPUs as well, but for right now, for what I'm seeing here, I think the best bang for the buck is Intel. If you need a really inexpensive Intel CPU right now, $200 for this 12700K is an absolutely impeccable deal. It's not bad for, 2 generations old of a CPU, but where the sweet spot, in my opinion, is going to be is probably going to be either this 13700K or either the 13600K. Now this is $250 for the KF model. Now this CPU is no slouch. I have it running on my main gaming rig, and I love it. I've got it overclocked to 6 gigahertz. I'm pushing a 4090 with it on an ultra wide at 1440p. I have no issues at all. I actually had a 14900K, and I've also had a 12900K. This beat the 12900K with my overclock. So back to the deals, we've got the i7s for a little bit more money, but I honestly don't think it's worth the extra money until you look at the 14700K, which they actually give you a little bit more E-cores than the previous generation. So that would be something that would be worth checking out. This Intel board is a deal. This is the Z690 Aorus Ultra. This has BIOS flashback. It's got all the bells and whistles. It is DDR5, so it supports the latest and greatest RAM. It's just, the best board for under $200 that I could find. I don't really like to cheap out on motherboards because, for one, I like to be able to run RAM at as fast of a frequency as I can. I like to have the BIOS flashback. There's a lot of options that I like to personally have for convenience factor. Also, this does have a postcode readout at the top right corner. So if you're building your first computer, or you're doing overclocking or diagnosing, what's going on with your machine, that postcode readout is infinitely helpful. So that's a feature that I always make sure I have when I'm building a rig. It just makes everything easy. So if your PC doesn't boot, it'll give you a 2-digit number up at the top, and you know exactly why your computer didn't boot. Other computers will beep at you, and then you have to figure out, was that 1 beep? Was that 2 beeps? Was that long 1 beep? So it's a little confusing, and they're not always the most accurate anyways. You can have this display your clock speed, 5.3 for 5.3 gigahertz and so on. There's a lot of uses for it. It is PCIe Gen 5, which it's not really too big of a deal for me, but yeah. As far as RAM goes, if you're looking at RAM, When I shop for RAM for DDR4, I'm just going to go ahead and get DDR4000. This kit right here is going to be more than enough for what you're going to need. But if I'm going to look at, let's say, I'll show you the kit that I use. I like the team group kits. These T-Creates right here, they do have a thermal pad over the PMIC, so they will overclock much better than a lot of other kits. They do run cooler and they're very reliable. So your team group kits are practically like the best bang for the buck and my favorite, period. You can come down here and find some 32 gig kits even cheaper. I've even seen some as low as like 60, 70 bucks. So the main thing that you want to keep in mind when you're looking at RAM though is your timings and your sub timings. So the CL30, that's basically your primary timing. You can see these go all the way up to in the 40s on DDR5. It's different on DDR4. So if you're looking at 6000, go for CL30. Don't waste your time on some of these other kits that are like advertising CL40, CL36, and so on for even more money. Coolers for the CPU, I would recommend if you're buying an AIO, this is the deal right here. $52. This is AM4, AM5, LGA 1700. It'll do everything out there for 52 bucks. I have experience with this cooler. I think it's a good one. So let's jump back in. Now, if you're looking at AMD, and if you are buying Intel platform or you are on Intel platform, you need to pick up one of these right here. This will lower your temps 5 to 10 degrees Celsius and give you better core to core temperatures because it's going to give you a much more even contact on your cooler because the stock brackets do give a little bend and it might not give the right, performance that you're desiring or the right temperatures that you're desiring or the right overclock you're desiring. So having this contact frame is just going to ensure that all four corners of the CPU are covered perfectly by the cooler and the middle isn't bowing or the outside's not bowing or so on. Now when it comes to the AMD platform, we've got the 5800X 3D for $322. Not a bad deal if you're already on AM4. Not too bad. We've got the 5600X coming in at 157 bucks, which is a really good deal in my opinion for that. But the sweet spot for AM5, if you just have to have AMD, which I don't particularly like for their CPUs right now, you get this for $359. That's actually not a bad deal. It came out at $449. This is the fastest AM5 that you can get at this price point. So there's that. Motherboard wise, I would go with this Elite AX. The AM5 motherboards are usually always more expensive, so you'll spend a little bit more on the board as well. And you will not be able to get RAM that will run over 6000 very easily. So if you're looking at getting that faster RAM, definitely kiss that goodbye with AM5. And you may have to tinker with it, do some undervolting and all that stuff. They also make a contact frame for AM5, so if you have AM5, consider one of those. Deals for NVMEs. This will absolutely blow your mind. This right here is a 4 terabyte drive for $179 and is a P3 Plus. I actually run one of these and I've been using it for quite a while now, and I've probably reinstalled Windows 100 different times because I've put it in different machines, and I always like a clean install when I'm putting something in a new machine. That way it just runs at its most optimal scenario. So $179 for that. For a 4 terabyte, it'll do up to 5,000 megabits or megabytes per second, whatever you want to say. Now, if you need something a little bit cheaper than that, but you need 4 terabytes, this is what you should go with here. It's not a performance drive. It's not, a crazy fast drive, but it's a decent drive. It does have DRAM cache. It'd be good for a little backup. Now, the deal of the century, I actually picked one of these up myself. Even though I'm broke as a joke right now, I picked one of these up anyways because I really needed a faster drive for editing. This is $100 for a 2 terabyte that does 7400, and it comes with 1 month of Adobe CC. This is one of the fastest drives out there for the money, and this will do the direct storage, so your games and your textures and a lot of stuff will actually run and load faster. For editors and content creators, this is something that's going to get you excited because this drive is just much quicker than your average one. It says it's $101, but it does say it's temporarily out of stock. But let me tell you, ignore this message if you can. I know it feels weird doing that, but I did on the advice of someone else and it worked out. All you have to do is hit buy it now. Mine shipped out within a couple of hours. So if you are seeing this buy it now button, that means it's still in stock. If the buy it now button is gone, it's probably completely gone. I think they're stretching out their inventory to allow them enough to get through the week. Now, the next drive that we could talk about, it's the 990 Pro. It is a spicy drive. These things run really hot, so it's not my favorite drive in the world, but a lot of people do like these drives. The speeds on them are really probably not much different than what you'll get on the other one. This one's 7450. And this one is 7400, so it's 50 megabytes per second faster for more money. You know, you can take and pick and choose which one you want, but I'm just showing you the deals. So here's the PC part picker build I was doing earlier. We're going to revise this a little bit, but you can see right here we found a Crucial T500 that is 6498 that has a heatsink built onto it, so that is an extremely good deal. Now, when I'm looking for deals, I'm going to show you how I make sure I'm getting the best deal. So I'll find the item I want and I'll scroll down. When I scroll down, this will actually show you a price chart. There's not a lot of history on this because it's actually a fairly recent entry, but if you look at the prices, look at that. It dropped down. So it started out around 169. It was on B&H for 129 at the time, I think, and Best Buy for 169, but now over here it's dropped down to its all-time low. Now if you want to come over here to like the CPU, for example, you could compare all the people who have it in stock, who's got it at the cheapest, but check it out. It came out at 500 bucks and now it's down at an all-time low at 359. That'll give you an idea if you're getting a good deal or if you should wait. If it's at an all-time high on the price, you should probably wait. You might could find it cheaper later down the road. As far as memory goes, it's just been all over the place, but it currently is at one of the all-time lows, especially for DDR5. This was like 250 bucks at one point. Power supplies, you're really not going to get that good of a deal currently for those. We've got a couple other deals down here for the drives and so on. We've got some 2230s down here. So if you are looking for drives for your handhelds, we're going to show you that real quick, and then we're going to go back to the PC building and we're going to show you. So 79 bucks right here. This would be good for a Steam Deck. This would be good for an ROG Ally if you need a 1 terabyte. If you need a 2 terabyte, I would probably go with something like this. You could get the faster Add-A-Link for a little bit more, but this has got a little bit better brand recognition. 157 bucks for the Micron. That's not a bad deal right there. Now GPUs, I don't see a ton of deals out there. I see a 4070 for 539. There's some 3060s for decent deals. There's some 4060 Ti's for 359. There was a 7900 XT for 739, 7800 XT for 549. There's just not a ton of deals at the moment. However, we did see a 4090 at MSRP earlier, and it is of course sold out within minutes. I just saved this probably 15 minutes ago, and this was actually $16.99, and now just like that it's gone. So if you're looking for a deal, these deals are probably going to be in and out of stock, so you could either keep checking or ask me for a deal. Got a lot of monitor deals down here. I'm only going to really focus on this for just a second. So this right here, $249, it was normally $399. 160 hertz, it's got FreeSync, it's a 34-inch 1440p. That would be an amazing gaming monitor for anyone, for anything. If you're using it on a handheld, if you're using it on a 3090, 4090, it doesn't matter. This is going to handle everything you want and more. And 160 hertz, that's plenty of refresh rate. But this one does have a little bit better image quality than some of the other 240 hertz monitors. They sacrifice a little bit in the image quality department when you get into those higher refresh rates, unless you're going to spend money. But if you're going to spend some money, buy this. $1,000 it's an OLED. I have the model before this, the non-OLED. This is 240 hertz, 1440p, super ultra wide. This is like the best of the best of the best for $1,000. It's $600 off. That's an insane discount. That's probably the biggest discount you'll ever see on this monitor. That would be what I would get. Now going back to our build For right now, if you are building a budget build for AMD, I would get this setup right here. This was our build for AMD. It's about 1,300 bucks. You could actually drop this down to 1,000. Instead of getting this GPU right here, you would get a used GPU, like a used like 3070 or something like that. You could actually find some deals on some 3080s or some 6800 XTs for under 400 bucks. So you could save a little bit of money there and get a little bit more power. And then you could drop down this board to a little bit cheaper board. So you could get this down ideally to 1,000. The things I would not cheap out on would definitely be the power supply, your storage, and your RAM. I would not cheap out on those at all. The cooler is already cheap enough. But we're going to show you what I would do if I was building Intel. So I personally would get that 13600KF because it's only 250 bucks. And then for motherboards, I'm going to look for a Z690 or Z790 that is DDR5. And then we're going to come over here. We're going to sort it by price. This is how I find those deals. And I'm going to look for the cheapest but not crappy board. It's probably going to be this Tough Gaming Z690 right here. I actually have a ton of experience with that board. It overclocks pretty well. And it does say there is compatibility issues, but don't worry, that board will most definitely work with the CPU. It just does that from time to time. So even with that, we've gotten it down to 1,100 bucks. You could overclock this thing really well. You can easily hit 5.5 out of the box without having to do too much. Then your RAM, that's probably, you could get a little bit cheaper on the RAM, but that's probably about as low as I would go. GPU wise, if you remove that, you're down to 745, and you could add in another 350 bucks for your GPU, like on eBay or something like that. You could find you a decent GPU for that. So under 1,000 bucks, that would be the Intel build that I would go with today. Power supplies, there's really not a ton of deals on those. Cases, there's definitely a ton of deals on cases. So if you're looking for something, the criteria that I really should tell you the most about is going to be front airflow and top airflow. You want to have at least 3 fans up top, and then ideally you would want a mesh front panel that has 3 fans as well. That way you have fresh, cool air coming in and your hot air up top exhausting out. That'll give you the best temperatures and airflow. In this case, has a divided area for the power supply, so all your hot air is not going to get trapped inside of your case. It actually has the fan mounted on the bottom, so it exhausts underneath the computer, so all the air coming in is cool air. That's actually a really good value for that case. 69 bucks. And I'll actually show you right here. The price is all over the place, but just a while back it was 100 and up. So it's been all over the place, but yeah, you see the point. 69 bucks, that's as cheap as I've ever seen it. If you're looking at power supplies, what I do is go to Linus Tech Tips power supply tier list. This will tell you tier B, mid-range, low priority units, tier C, low end, stuff like that. You just don't want to get anything on the low end. Anything on the mid-range and above is completely fine. What I always look for is at least bronze, gold, or better. Do not look at the white or any of the weird brands that you haven't heard of without checking this list first. Corsair is usually pretty safe. EVGA is usually pretty safe. Seasonic is always safe. There's a few of these brands that are hit and miss. You just have to really check this list. You could do the same thing with NVMEs. There's like an NVMe tier list. There's a ton of people who dive deep into what controllers they use and so forth. I like to compare those when I'm buying something. So I'll go to NVMe tier list. And then there is a Google Doc that I like to reference. Here it is. So this will show you every, I'd say every, but it's probably nearly every drive out there. So that Crucial T500 right here, this will show you it's got a Phison E25 controller. It'll show you if it's got DRAM cache. It'll tell you what the brand of the NAND flash is, if it's TLC or QLC. TLCs are going to be faster and they're going to be much better quality in my opinion. QLCs are decent, but they're also a little slower. And this will show you the read and write. And if it's a high-end, mid-range, entry-level, and so on. So you can get an idea of what type of drive you're buying. right here on this Google Docs sheet. That's a very important thing to look at when you're buying storage. You don't want to buy some janky junk. Other than that, there's a lot of deals out here that I probably did not cover, and we'll try to dive deeper into another video. But I just wanted to kind of give you a quick insight on how I find the deals. I'll go to PC Part Picker a lot of times and see if something pops up. But there's a lot of stuff that does not come up on PC Part Picker and it doesn't get updated as fast. So I'll come here to the components page and I'll just kind of like look around and see what pops up. Your CPUs are probably going to be more % off currently than ever. There's more profit margin for some of these retailers on here, so they can mark them down more. Your GPUs are just never going on sale again. I don't think like we would hope. There's just not enough profit margin in them for the resellers. There are for the companies, but that's a different topic. But something like this, 12900K, 315 bucks. This is actually a pretty good deal, but for 250 bucks, you could buy the i5 13600K and it will match and or beat this. I had a 12900K and I have a 13600K. I had them side by side. I ran tons of benchmarks and I can show you in the Discord if you don't believe me, but I could smoke the pants off of my 12900K. I think that's just a decent deal, but for 250 bucks, I'm all about that 13600K. Even if you're going to get like a 13700K, it's going to beat it right out of the box with no overclock. But yeah, there's that. So there's not a ton of other things to talk about, not a ton of other deals that I'm seeing right now, but they do pop up often. And if you look at my YouTube page on the community tab, I post those hot deals that are like here one day and gone the next. I post those hot deals all the time randomly. So if you're subscribed, you see them. If you're not subscribed, you won't see them usually, but they pop up and I post them on there and they're here and gone. So you got to be quick. Now keep in mind all these links, they are my affiliate links. It does not cost you any money extra. It's all the same exact price. But when you click one of these links over here and it opens up in your browser and you decide to buy it, I actually get a small few like little pennies on each little transaction. So that helps the channel, that helps me. So anyways, we're going to keep on hunting deals. These coolers are really good right now. RAM prices are insanely low. We've got monitors at an all-time low. We got cases at an all-time low. Storage is definitely at an all-time low. So if you are hunting some of these little components to build your computer, or you're trying to put one together, you could even go ahead and buy some of this stuff and wait on the GPU. Because honestly, I think GPU prices are going to come down a little bit more. It's probably the only item that I would really suggest shopping around and waiting for, because that's the only thing I'm not seeing on sale enough for me to suggest anything, unless it's in the used category or you're buying something maybe lower end or super high end. The mid-range GPUs are just non-existent at this moment for a decent deal. All right, folks, I'm gonna head on out. We're gonna get this all chopped up and edited out for you. And if there's anything you're looking for deal wise, please let me know in the comments or the Discord, and I'll quickly try to get back to you. If you're looking to buy something right now, like right now, now's the time to do it. Now's the time to see if you can find a deal on it. If it's something you're looking at shopping for in a month or two, just, you know, casually come by the Discord and have me keep an eye out for you. And I'll tell you when something pops up that's just like that crazy deal that you've just got to have. Alrighty. Well, I hope all y'all have a good afternoon, good evening, or good night.